Probably the biggest news story to come out of this past week in wrestling involves the possibility of fans coming back to wrestling events at full capacity, from smaller venues that seat a couple thousand people to full-on stadiums at over 100,000, at least in the state of Florida, as their governor, Ron DeSantis, has now allowed the possibility for sporting events to be fully attended going forward. Andy Slater of Fox Sports and iHeartRadio took to Twitter this past Wednesday to confirm that the Miami Dolphins have been given clearance to go at full capacity of 65,000 fans at Hard Rock Stadium, according to what Governor DeSantis' spokesperson told him. And as we know, Florida entered phase 3 of its reopening phase way back on September 25th, which allowed restaurants, gyms, bars, and stadiums to run at full capacity to be able to. And just to point this out, all that still seems unfathomable to us here in New York City. Having any of our stores and businesses and events run at full capacity still seems like a long way to go around here. It really does, with our governor and our mayor of the city just like going at odds with each other back and forth. Like they don't even know what they want to do at this point, it feels like. So yeah, it seems like it's a long way to go before we hear anything remotely close to those policies coming back and fully reopening to the extent that Florida is. And that shows me that Florida is more on the careless side when it has come to handling this pandemic. And this is no surprise, at least to me, as they've been slowly reopening their economy and their businesses over there going back to May. Now, on the subject, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ricardo.
Well, here's how I view it. I view it that in the state of Florida, I agree with you that they are being risky, but even us fans can't knock this happening, because like we've been waiting for a predicament like this just to somehow flourish, because all of us is clamoring for fans to return to the arenas, stadiums, to all other venues, like no matter the sport, like it's soccer, basketball, football, wrestling, whatever, right? Yes, I do agree with you that Florida is being risky. It's actually the riskiest state in the United States that's putting their cards all their cards on the table. However, the fact that the state of Florida is now opening their fans to let them be in stadiums, arenas, all that such, it changes everything. Like it changes everything. Like, it's like this. If since, wow, time out.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead, let Ricardo deal with that himself. But on the subject, going to the subject of wrestling, as of now, WWE's residency deal with the Amway Center and the Thunderdome expires later this month, around at the time of Halloween, that is. So that's just a few weeks from now at this point. So unless they decide to re-sign the deal and that gets extended, that whole deal with them, it would not surprise me at all if WWE wants to find a neutral location and venue within the state of Florida and take advantage of this recent policy that the governor of Florida just passed recently and have fans back in attendance. Maybe not full all the way, but somewhere closer to that than empty. Because we've been hearing stories nonstop of Vince and a lot of the higher ups of the company there that they're adamant to have fans back in attendance for their live shows. Ricardo, you're still muted.
Today is not a good day for me. But I'm sorry. Back to what I was saying. But like, yeah, it shows to you like they really want to get this done. They really want the fans back. And despite what we might all think, based on how the fans are coming back, it's a game changer. They just did a draft yesterday, right? And it changed the whole dynamic of the main roster, right? Not even AEW could not gloss over the fact that in the state of Florida that all fans could return to the arenas. So that means things in their eyes for WWE and AEW, things are going back to normal, right? But they also have to understand they also got to be careful, right?
Oh yeah,
because they desperately got to be careful. Now, based on what you're saying, Abba, they do have to find a particular location to hold all the episodes going down, right? They're at they're in the Thunderdome. That's in Jersey, correct?
that's in Florida.
Oh,
The
it's in
Amway
Florida.
Center.
I'm bugging. The
Yeah,
Amway Center.
they
Okay,
haven't done any live events beyond the state of Florida.
all right, so pretty much they're gonna have to like remove the virtual shit from the Amway Center and put the seats back, right? Or so to speak.
Right, but
Right?
that's pertaining to the fact of if whether or not they want to continue their deal with the Amway Center.
They
Because
will.
it's,
They will. Like, would you end your deal with the Amway Center if I had if the state of Florida said that fans could be allowed?
I
No.
wouldn't.
Exactly. So obviously they would stay, and they would stay because the thing is with them is that like what WWE has done with New Jersey. I mean, I keep saying New Jersey with the state of Florida that they struck the deal like with the Amway Center, like you said. So the fact of the matter is that no other sporting promotion is going there. The WWE might as well just stay there as of right now. You feel me? And like all I know is that I know certain people in Florida personally that are like they go out to the gyms, they go out to
Normal life is completely back for them. Yeah, it's like it's not an issue for them, the pandemic.
So it's going to be the same thing when they go back to the arenas or stadiums when it comes to watching wrestling. And since they're going back to the state of Florida, since completely fans are back, now they can really do WrestleMania like they really want to, right? But like I said, it will remain to be seen. We'll see what happens. And with them, I'm just saying like this: you gotta play it close to the vest. You got to play it close to the vest because if you get coronavirus cases, especially in your main roster, which I won't be surprised if that happens
again.
No, but I'm talking about it'll be more than before.
Oh yeah, of course. Because they're going to be careless this time. The restrictions are not going to be there as heavy as it was up to this point.
And exactly. And plus, if you got folks like Roman Reigns and others that are hesitant to return to the state of Florida at full capacity with fans, it will diminish every plan or even ruin every plan that they have in the future. So they got to chill out. I won't say chill out. I'll take that back. They got to be careful on how they handle things. It's okay to have fans back, but you got to be smart about it.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that notion, and I do think that I do think that Vince isn't going to be so quick to act on this new policy just yet. I will say, like you mentioned earlier with and what I said about the Amway Center and their residency deal over there expiring later this month, there is a very good chance. In fact, I will be surprised if nothing else, that if they decide not to pull through with extending that deal with that center.
No, there will be fans for sure after that the agreement is ended, because you said it ends this month, correct?
Yeah, and I was just getting to the notion of whether or not they're going to keep the Thunderdome concept around. Maybe not.
No, they will keep the Thunderdome concept. They will keep that shit. They're gonna keep it. They're just putting fans. Like that.
So basically what NXT's been doing with TakeOver in their latest episode, right?
Yes, and NXT will change also, because to be honest with you, if there was two spots, no, not two spots, two shows that needs fans, it's SmackDown and NXT, for sure.
Well, Raw's not in the conversation. They're good without the fans.
The reason why I'm not putting Raw in the conversation, because Raw has like been beyond trash, right? And the fact that beyond trash, the only thing that's like gravitating towards me is Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. Other than that, nothing in Raw like really excites me right now. Nothing is intriguing to me. While I got SmackDown, I got Roman Reigns, I got Seth Rollins that just got dropped to the SmackDown.
Oh yeah.
And you got NXT. Like, come on, NXT is in dire need of fans, especially for NXT, because you need to fight AEW. So it's literally like that.
Yeah, this whole rebranding with the Capitol Wrestling Center as of late, with starting with Takeover last weekend. It's been a huge step up in terms of their presentation and how they've been presenting things. It's a nice change of pace. It's a lot better, leagues better, I would say, than what they've been doing before.
Yes.
And yeah, I hope that, and just to close it off on the segments discussed with this news topic, I'm hopeful that WWE knows what they're doing here, and I don't think they're going to be so quick as to just act upon this new policy of the governor of Florida and the state of Florida just going through with reopening full crowds of full capacity at all their venues. So I'm hoping that's not the case, but
I won't be surprised if that. I won't be surprised if that actually happens on the spot. But like,
I don't either. This is WWE we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. It's WWE. It's like this. It's like Vince is like a little kid. A little kid finding out that he could do whatever he wants, and he puts all his cards on the table, and he was like, "Yo, fuck it, we're gonna do this." While all fans are here, we're gonna put like, "Yo, we're gonna go ham all the time." We're like, let's put all our cards on the table. Fuck what's happening. Fuck the rules and shit like that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's how they're gonna mess up.
And hopefully they don't have to feel the wrath of that for the long term.
No, they will, bro. They will. It's inescapable. It's inescapable due to the fact that the coronavirus is actually the coronavirus cases is rising again, all over the United States. It's rising again because like late summer, we are in the late summer of late July into August, and to some degree in September, the cases were going down. And now it went right back up again.
Yeah, because the restrictions have slowly been taken away.
Exactly. So we'll see what happens in the state of Florida, and especially between AEW and WWE. Because I think we all could agree that AEW will take more of a safety precaution than WWE.
As they have been up to this entire point throughout this pandemic. They've been doing a lot, and guess what? Now they're having legit fans back in attendance. What, is it a couple hundred people they're letting in? But
the way that they're doing it in a smarter way. They're putting small increments of people to be in the crowd. So they're like, let's put 25 people. And then 2 weeks later, let's put 50 people. And then 100. And like, they're slowly raising their capacity in terms of the crowd, which is smart. If WWE does that, I think WWE will be okay. They'll be okay. Yeah. Instead of using their own personnel to use them as fans for endless hours, which is like fucking slave work into that capacity. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, what sucks is that your analogy of slave work isn't too far off from what they're dealing with over there.
Exactly.
And that sucks, but it is what it is. And I'm hopeful. Yeah, like just to close it off there, I'm very hopeful that WWE knows what they're doing here, and that's and yeah, with the recent news that the announcement that WrestleMania 37 next year is coming back to Florida, they're giving it a second try, like with hosting the event at Raymond James Stadium, which was the plan for earlier this year.
I can't knock them for going back to Florida. I would have done that. I'm like, yo, I need a redo. Like it's literally like that. I would have done that personally.
Right, because that's the safe state for them. That's a safe location because they've been running shows up to this point.
No, it's besides that. It's because like WrestleMania last year wasn't up to par that it was supposed to be, especially in Florida. And that's what I'm saying. I would do a redo regardless. I would have done it too, personally. And then I would have left and went somewhere else.
Yeah. And not to mention the fact that Los Angeles may not have been the ideal location since they're probably nowhere near going to be open in time for Mania 6 months from now. To have a full-on stadium, a crowd of people there, no way. I don't think so.
And the moments that needs to happen in WWE will elevate it due to the fact that there will be fans, especially with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso and Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre and stuff like that. Those were times that they needed fans, and they're going to get that now.
Yeah, sooner than later. But this is episode 39 of the Wrestling Hypothesis podcast, here for your Sunday, October 11th, 2020. Hope everyone is doing well at home, safe and sound. I am the ABA, of course, and joining me this week solely is Ricardo. What's going on, man?
What's up, man?
Yep. As you guys know, this podcast is available to listen to on various different platforms out there, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, and our YouTube channel over on YouTube. New episode of WH Extra went live on the YouTube channel this past Wednesday, where Ricardo finally took time out of his busy schedule to join King Kenny and I, the dynamic duo of the show.
Oh, okay. Let me tell you something right now. I am sick and tired of you two saying you're the dynamic duo when I was the one that started Extra. Okay, I was the one that made Extra famous. Okay, respect
Right.
respect.
You're giving
It's
yourself
a
too
fact.
much.
Respect
You're giving
your
yourself
elders.
too much.
Respect
Too
your
much
elders.
props for that. Oh
Okay,
man,
bro, it's facts. It's facts. Okay, y'all could hate all you want to. Dynamic duo, these nuts. Okay, let me tell you something right now. I'm the one that made Extra famous. Okay,
right. Okay.
y'all are just some haters. That's all.
Yeah.
Y'all haters.
Yeah. Or people that see the truth, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah. Anyways, we discussed some good stuff on there. The news of Sasha Banks and Bayley taking place at Hell in a Cell and all that good stuff. So, and yeah, it's taking, as of last night, we know that it's now taking place. It's officially confirmed for Hell in a Cell to take place inside the cell structure. So you want to hear our thoughts on that going into the announcement itself, and a bunch of other news that took place this past week. Check out the new episode 11 of Extra of Wrestling Hypothesis over on our YouTube channel. And guys, please be sure to subscribe as well.
That's right.
If you're listening via Apple Podcasts, please be sure to give us a star rating on there, as well as some thoughts on what you think of our show. Any feedback is welcome from our side. And if you haven't done so already, you can check out any of our older episodes in the archives using any of the platforms that were mentioned earlier, as well as visiting our own website, anchor.fm/wrestling-hypothesis. Now let's get into it with the rest of the show, guys. Multiple sources have come out and reported the news that Ronda Rousey, a name we haven't been hearing of too much over the past few months, and when we do, she is usually playing troll with the fans. You gotta love that. But her current contract with WWE is apparently coming to an end, as that deal is set to expire at April 10th of next year. As WWE themselves came out with a statement after murmurs of when Ronda's deal expires with them started to go into complete overdrive, and people were just like playing all conspiracy. When is her contract expiring? WWE came out and just acknowledged that fact. It would surprise.
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
It's like this for Ronda Rousey. For Ronda Rousey, I honestly think she's gonna show up. My honest opinion, right? Because there's no way she's gonna be chilling in her crib, collecting money. And I'm not knocking her for it. If I have a big time company and I'm sleeping and I'm chilling on my bed and they're paying me, I ain't complaining about that. Don't get me wrong. Right? But I think she's gonna show up. She's too big not to show up due to the fact that they're getting fans back. Come on, you feel me? Like, you're really gonna just sit there. You're really gonna just chill at home, continue to get paid. Like I said, don't get me wrong. I feel her, right? But like, if I was her, I would honestly show up. Like, it would. She's a game changer, right? And for Ronda Rousey, she needs to. I think she should show up due to the fact that you got so much other storylines that you could use. Like, there's so many opponents that I want her to face. I really like. If there was one opponent, if there was a few, if I had to just name one, I would like to see her against Sasha Banks, or I would like to see her against Asuka, or names like that. But she will be missing out on wrestling matches that she has a lot left in the tank, because she only fought legitimately two people, which is Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, right? Other than that, I'm like, who else she faced? And I'm not even counting the no names that she faced. Don't even start it on that. Like, we don't even count that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even count that, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, someone's phone gone off there. But anyways, to go with your point there, man, it would surprise me big time if they don't try with all their might to get at least one more big match out of her. And they've gone through, like you said, Rousey against Charlotte, against Sasha, and against Bayley on that one episode of Raw where they had a match. unless they want to do her against Asuka, which we haven't seen as of yet, the long-alluded match with Becky Lynch is still in the minds of a lot of the fan base, as I'm sure you can agree. And as we know, she is also on hiatus due to pregnancy at the moment, and she may never want to lace up the boots ever again, for all we know. But never say never.
I would not say that about Becky Lynch.
You don't think she's
Absolutely
done?
not. Hell no. She's in her prime. What makes you think she's done?
Dude, motherhood changes a lot of different perspectives of the female, you know?
Wait. I was the one not too long ago on one of the podcasts saying that her character might change due to the fact that she got pregnant. But I won't admit that she's done.
I mean, I'm not saying myself that I would be so surprised if I see her on television again in wrestling. I'm just saying, don't count that possibility out of her just not wanting to do it anymore.
Oh no,
her priorities shifted.
Bro, she's gonna come back. She's too valuable. She's too valuable not to come back. Right? She's too valuable for that. She's not one of those guys like that's done enough for the company and she could just chill at home. Like that's like John Cena, Undertaker level, right? But Becky Lynch, she's the top 3 females as far as I'm concerned in wrestling. I'm not in
what
WWE.
You said there, but how many females do you know that are anywhere near the level of John Cena, Undertaker?
No. What I meant with that was I was like, she hasn't done enough to just sit back and chill like a John Cena and Taker that's done enough for the company. Becky Lynch is in her prime. She's in her prime. She got pregnant. Congratulations, but that doesn't mean you're finished. She's not finished.
Dude, you got to realize something. Females in wrestling, female wrestlers in general, they tend to have a lot shorter lifespan in the wrestling business, unlike the men.
No, I get that. But
because of things like wanting to start a family and pregnancy.
No, like I said, I get that. And I'm not knocking her for it, right? Because I'm not speaking as a woman. That's Tara's job, okay? She could do that, right? But all I'm saying is that, like, Becky Lynch ain't finished. That's the bottom line. She ain't finished. And I bet she would agree with me on that. Becky Lynch ain't finished in WWE due to pregnancy. No way. She ain't finished.
Right. Okay. I'm just saying. You can ask her. She could be thinking that now as we speak. But maybe a few months down the road, or a year down the road, maybe she'll be singing a different tune. So who knows? But just going back to the whole Ronda thing, she was also recently spotted training in ring with Roddy Piper's daughter Teal not long ago, which we mentioned on the podcast a few weeks ago. Maybe that was to shake off any ring rust since her last match was a year and a half ago at WrestleMania 35 in the main event. There's also no doubt, I got to say this, there's also no doubt in my mind when I say that WWE is going to try to have shows with a full attendance soon enough, with bringing Rousey, Brock Lesnar, and even John Cena back as one of the main reasons for doing so. You are not going to bring these star attractions back in a crowdless arena, maybe not even with the Thunderdome in place. To them, it's probably just not worth it. The investment won't pay off anywhere near as much in those instances as it would in a venue with the near full audience at the very least.
Of course, because you need your big time players to show at big time shows. That's how the shit works, right? The fact that, like, I'm Vince, I'm Vince McMahon. I got a chance to fill the whole crowd to fill the whole arena or stadium with fans, and I'm not bringing my big time players back. Of course, I'm bringing them back without question, right? Like that's why you say, like, Brock Lesnar is a free agent. He just hasn't got signed out to any company because right now Brock Lesnar is just chilling, right now, right? And
WWE doesn't have the motivation right now to get that done, to seal Lesnar a deal,
but guess what? Now they do. Now they do.
Yeah, now they do.
Ronda Rousey might come back. Brock Lesnar might come back. Hell, John Cena might do a one-time match for the one time, right? Or just an appearance, so to speak. But, like, yeah, they now have the motivation to do whatever the fuck they want. They could bring in a Rousey. They could bring in a Lesnar. They could bring back a Charlotte. They could bring back a Cena. Do some shit with Roman Reigns. Do shit with Seth Rollins, et cetera, et cetera. They now have the freedom to do whatever they want now in the upcoming weeks, right? The Thunderdome, that's gonna pass, right? It's now happy in the state. Like Florida is hyped right now. No lie. Florida is really hyped right now. They have the freedom to do whatever they want, but they also have the carelessness to do whatever they want. And that's the cause and effect that might happen later down the line.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They, like I said, they all have to be careful. Like, we may not like Vince on his decisions, but he ain't stupid. All right, he ain't stupid. What he has to do, like I said before in the first segment, he just has to be careful on how he handles this. You gotta play close to the vest. You gotta play chess, not checkers, by handling this. Right? If he fucks up, it's a problem. It's gonna be a problem.
It's gonna be a complete shitstorm for them.
Big time.
All the bad publicity, they're gonna get a bad reputation on their backs. Like, nobody's gonna want to be associated with them at that point. The wrestlers are gonna start resenting them, their own talent, as they have been. Well, even with this recent news that Vince is taking away their Twitch and Cameo accounts.
Bro, Vince at times the WWE will always have a good and bad reputation, right? Based on news that we hear every week, it's more bad than good. It's always been bad than good. Ask former wrestlers from WWE and legends. I'm like, yo, I bet you if I ask 5 wrestlers that used to be in WWE, just 5, they'll give me more bad than good. For sure. For sure. It's dead ass like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Vince definitely on that, Vince definitely knows like who to keep in the back of his pockets in case like some shit goes down, and he stays on a few certain wrestlers' good sides and ones that he would rather steer away from.
Yeah, Vince picks and chooses on who to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
And
that might be a good reason, and that might be a big part of the reason why nobody wants to be associated with WWE anymore. Any of the former stars.
No, I don't. Well, that, but it's also the way WWE handles business, and like it's very, very terrible. WWE has a reputation of not taking care of their superstars, let alone all their superstars. Mm-hmm. Like that, it's degrading, and it's like, bro. Ever since Andrew Yang called out Vince and that stuff, every episode we've done after that, it validates his point profusely. And like, it's not even funny. It's like, what fans need to understand, like what Andrew Yang has said towards Vince validates that every week with a certain type of news that he's doing, that he does to them, whether it's the draft, whether you hear shit that's going on backstage, whatever a wrestler calls them out, whatever. Each time that shit happens, validates Andrew Yang's point, to the point where Andrew Yang wants to do something towards WWE, like no matter big or small, whatever he decides to do. Like it's crazy, but yet I'm not surprised about it because WWE has been doing this for years.
Right, and whether or not Andrew Yang wants to continue on with his pursuit of, allowing WWE to be more open to the idea, or just forcefully just pushing them to the point where they have to be more accommodating to their wrestlers and their talent, then so be it. So be it. And that's what I got to say on that. Moving on here, some news on the first night of the 2020 WWE Draft, which came and went last night on SmackDown, at least the first night anyways, as Raw this upcoming Monday is planning to carry on with the rest of the draft picks for this year. But a good amount of talent from Raw and SmackDown were drafted to opposite brands, and a lot of notable names especially. We're not going to go over all of these draft picks, obviously. It doesn't really matter, most of them, as a good chunk of them actually stay put on their respective brands. Just the picks that resulted in superstars drafted to new brands and found a new home for themselves. So starting off, the first notable pick is Seth Rollins moving to SmackDown from Raw, which honestly is a great move and something I would have done myself, no question, as Seth has been a part of the Raw roster since the relaunch of the brand split 4 years ago. Yep. So for him and for WWE, this is a good shakeup of things, and it could lead to fresher opponents and storylines on the blue brand.
Well, I like it, but then again, I kind of don't like it Because, okay, let's look at this. Seth Rollins is currently still fighting with the Mysterio family, right? To be honest with you, that rivalry is played out. I'm
right with you on that.
I'm done with it. It was good at first, and then like I was done with it. Like it's played out, right? But I'm like, but SmackDown, however, that's the reason why I don't like him going to SmackDown, just because of the rivalry alone, right? Because now the Mysterio family also went to SmackDown, both Dominik and Rey Mysterio, right? So it goes to show you that they're going to continue that rivalry on. But besides all that, he's on SmackDown with Roman Reigns. SmackDown looks, their talent right now is elite, right? It reminds me to some degree back at 2008, 2009, where SmackDown had Triple H, Jeff Hardy, Taker, Big Show, Vladimir Kozlov, Mysterio in his prime, CM Punk. I'm like, that roster back then was elite. Everybody was in their prime, right? And then I'm looking at this roster. I got Reigns, Paul Heyman. I got Seth Rollins. I got Big E is still there. Big E's still on the SmackDown roster.
We'll get to him in a little bit.
Yeah. Of course. Big E's on the main roster. Who else is there? They broke up the Usos, which I'm highly pissed off about. I'm highly pissed off about that, right? Like, because
they moved Jimmy to Raw?
Yes, they split up the Usos. Why the fuck would you do that?
Yikes.
Why would you do that? I was like, yo, you got Roman Reigns, right? Fighting one of the Usos, right? And Vince McMahon is now clamoring at the fact about factions coming together, right?
But he's breaking up tag teams slowly.
That doesn't make any sense. You got the Usos with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. Bro, seriously? That's money. And you mess it up by taking one of the Usos to Raw? Come on, man.
Is Jimmy even gonna fare that well on Raw as a singles competitor?
I don't think so, personally.
Not with no longer alongside his brother or with Roman.
This ain't the Hardys where like you can split up the Hardys and like both of them don't get with the Hardys. They're like the only team I could think of. No, besides and Edge and Christian that I could think of that did well by themselves. Both of them, right? Same thing with Edge and Christian. But with the Usos, they actually need each other.
Mm-hmm.
You can't split them up. You really can't. And the fact that Jey Uso and Roman Reigns is still fighting, you need both of them to uplift each other to fight Roman Reigns. Because it fits in that storyline. And now, since they broke them up, you don't know what's going to happen with the Usos specifically. I'm not worried about Roman Reigns. I'm worried about the Usos. And now you don't know what the Usos are going to look like. And to me, it's intriguing, but it makes us fans look hesitant about what the Usos are going to do next. Right? Like I wasn't feeling that. Due to the fact that the potential is there with the Usos and the Roman Reigns to become a faction. That would have been money.
And now it just got taken from us.
Exactly.
You gotta love WWE, man. Feels like when it looks like they take one step forward, it's 3 steps back at the same time. Probably even more. I'm probably being generous with 3. Yeah, but just moving on here with the picks, the second notable pick was AJ Styles, who moved to Raw from SmackDown, which honestly was a foregone conclusion to me after losing to Jey Uso on last week's SmackDown show to face Roman Reigns at Hell in a Cell in a few weeks. But either way, this was another smart pick and a good pickup for Raw, as AJ can do it all and can thrive in any role given to him.
AJ, I'm not worried about AJ Styles. AJ Styles can work out anywhere. But what I also want to get to, I want to get to Big E, right? Now, remember what he called out when he called out WWE? Like he was like, I will be in a. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. I'll be in a singles run when I believe it.
Right, we talked about that on the show.
Now, he's in a singles push. I don't count the one he did before because now he's by himself. He's the lone wolf out of the New Day. And now he's by himself facing singles competitors, right? Mm-hmm. And his singles push starts now and never started back then, which he validated that back then because he was still associated with the New Day, with the threads, the song, all that. And the fact that they split the New Day is not going to be the same. New Day is not going to be the same anymore because he dropped it onto Raw. And Xavier Woods is not even there no more, honestly. It's just Kofi Kingston. So, like, it's just Kofi Kingston.
What are you talking about? Xavier Woods? Xavier Woods came back last night.
No, you see, I didn't know that. To be honest with you, I didn't watch SmackDown because I was watching the NBA Finals. And don't even get me started with the NBA Finals or what happened at the very, very end. Okay? Anybody who watches basketball, you guys knew what I was talking about when I was watching the NBA Finals last night on Friday.
I'm not gonna provoke him, so someone else can later.
But like Kenny would have done that because he knows how I felt last night, right? But besides the point, the New Day is not gonna look the same. They broke up the Usos and shit like that. They brought Alexa Bliss. They split up Alexa Bliss and Bray Wyatt. To be honest with you, I wanted to see that together. To be honest, I wanted to see that, right? But just the fact that you split them up, I'm like, you gotta think about it like this. What was the whole point of Alexa Bliss doing the Fiend gimmick in the first place if you were gonna split them up?
Well, as of now, they could be split up, but I don't know if Bliss is on the draft pool still for Raw's night of the draft. Is that the case?
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know.
The draft didn't end yet. It's easy to think that, but it's not the case. We only just went through the first night, so we could still be seeing them doing something, working together on one brand together.
I mean, you're gonna have to.
You have to, yeah. Like, why would you play up that whole thing and then not follow through on it?
That's right. It would diminish everything. Like, Alexa Bliss is like on top of her game right now due to the fact of her character with the Fiend, and it's fire. It's like, I love her character. Like,
best character work of her career, easy.
By far. And like, it's like she's facing the evolution of her character is like amazing based on how she's being portrayed with Bray Wyatt. You can't say enough about it.
Yeah, no, definitely agree with that sentiment. Alexa Bliss is great in this role, and she can thrive big time in doing something like this. But to continue on with the draft picks from last night, at least the new ones, where people were drafted over to different shows. Naomi was drafted over to Raw in the second round, which kind of it did catch me off guard that she was involved so early on. We're talking second round. And no disrespect to Naomi at all, but looking at her status and what she has been doing as of late, when they decide to use her, that is, this is pretty surprising. And I doubt they'll do much with her on Raw anyway. So this is much ado about nothing. And speaking of the women, Bianca Belair was right after her in that second round, getting drafted over to the Blue brand in SmackDown from Raw.
That was a good pickup.
That was a really good pickup, I thought.
That was a good pickup to me. Because like, finally, like, now I can see Bianca Belair shine. She will dominate SmackDown. Like, my dream match is for her to face Sasha Banks. I want her to face Sasha Banks so badly. Like for real. That's like,
right. They were the commentary team was kind of teasing that last night too.
Like to me, Bianca Belair is number one rival of Sasha Banks. Like, Sasha Banks is like the predecessor while Bianca Belair is the successor. I want to see, like, yo, who's better?
Do you see them honestly, like, do you see WWE pairing them up as a tag team one of these days?
To be honest with you, I don't want them to pair up as a tag team. That's just me. I really don't, because I'd rather have them by themselves than as a tag team. I don't want that to mess up their flow. It'll mess up their flow. It'll mess up their what's it called? Not repertoire.
Momentum.
Momentum. Thank you. Momentum. Yeah. Like, I don't want that to mess up.
Right, because they could be going on a nice upswing for themselves as individual stars.
That's right.
Yeah.
And plus it'll be, and imagine of two African American females fighting for the title. That's big. That is really big. Okay. I don't know when was the last time I saw two excuse me, African-American females in a great match with two females that have arguably the greatest talent between Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair in a legitimate one-on-one match. Like, I don't recall seeing that in the past, right? Like, it'll be a great rivalry, in my opinion, and it'll have a great match. That needs to happen. Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, set it up.
I would pay good money to see that.
Exactly.
That sounds like a great match.
It'll be fire.
Mm-hmm. Over in the third round, not much of new drafts here, except for, like you mentioned earlier yourself, man, Rey and Dominik Mysterio. The Mysterio family is moving to SmackDown on Friday nights, and normally I would be happy with this move, as it would get them away from Seth Rollins, and we can all move on from this played-out feud with the sides.
It won't. It won't.
Yeah, Seth was, like we said earlier, was also drafted to SmackDown himself, so they can easily continue this feud that nobody really wants to see anymore.
Let's move on. I'm not. Yeah. I'm done talking about Mysterio. I fucks with Rey Mysterio and Dominik, but like, yo, I'm done with the rivalry. Let's move on to that one. Like,
yeah. And the fourth round consisted of another significant move, and that we kind of alluded to earlier, and maybe one that almost no one saw coming, and that was the New Day. By the way, the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions got drafted to Monday Night Raw. Yes, that makes all the sense in the world.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I already mentioned what I said about the New Day, because I honestly think Xavier was not going to do anything that much personally, because like he just got back. I understand why he got back, but now he's needed to do more. I'm not saying he can't wrestle. I'm not saying like he can't do his thing. I'm just saying like the New Day ain't going to be the same. It's not going to be the same without Big E. Personally, it's not. Right? So come on, let's move on, because like it's just like upsetting, and it got me tight, especially with the
Yeah, man. Okay, that's great. No, you gave your thoughts. May I give my quick takes?
No. You can give your quick takes, but to be honest with you, you can give your quick takes. But technically, you already did, because you already agreed to my takes earlier when I mentioned it.
I could have something to add, man. You're just like whatever.
No. Because go ahead. No, go ahead, bro.
All right.
This draft just got me tight. That's all.
All right, that's cool. Why they thought that made sense to put the titles on them just before getting drafted to the opposite brand is anyone's guess. But the interesting thing about this is that the entire New Day faction didn't get drafted over to Raw. Only Kofi and Xavier. Big E, meanwhile, is staying put on the blue brand, as he was the next draft pick and got drafted to the opposite brand of his friends. So the New Day is no longer all a collective unit, part of the same brand anymore, at least for now. And this makes you think, back to the report that came out of what WWE wanted to do initially, of having New Day split up into separate brands a few years back, but it never came to fruition. I guess Vince and the higher-ups thought it would not be sustainable to go with that, and merchandising would go down, so he didn't go through with it. But now I guess he was more open to the idea, and this is another big indicator, like what we touched on earlier, with WWE strapping the rocket to Big E's back and sending him closer to the main event scene on his own. And now he could start being more hopeful that this impending big push plan for Big E is gonna work out, and that it's coming.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And that was pretty much the draft. And we'll just see how that was night one, at least, of the draft for 2020. So I'm hopeful that Monday Night Raw, this upcoming Monday night, is night two of the draft, is going to carry on with less thought out picks, and picks that actually do make sense, and for the betterment of the brands involved. So we'll see how that goes. And finally here, Tessa Blanchard is back in the news as of just this past morning, as an update came out regarding the status of her joining WWE and whether or not they are really interested in acquiring her. A longtime member of the creative team of WWE came out and revealed that Vince knows of Tessa, but not that much about her, and that she is not on Vince's radar whatsoever.
I'm not surprised about that, because Vince has old man syndrome. He ignores what very talented people do around the world. Tessa Blanchard is money. I don't care what has happened to her in the past or what she said in the past. You cannot ignore a talent like that. Nobody would, despite a company might feel. That could be Ring of Honor. That could be AEW. That could be WWE. That could be New Japan. You cannot ignore a talent like that and let her walk, right? I would say, to be honest with you, I don't want her on the main roster. I honestly don't want her in the main roster. I want her in NXT. I'd rather put her in NXT because NXT is in need of competition, right? They're in need of competition right now for the women's division. Yes, Toni Storm and Ember Moon came back, but as far as I'm concerned, they're the injury-prone females. Like, they could, like, Ember Moon's injury-prone, Toni Storm to some degree, but nobody's beating Tegan Nox. Tegan Nox is like the Derrick Rose of, like, WWE, right? But, like, and second to that, it might be Ember Moon. But, like, they're in dire competition. They're in dire need of competition at NXT. I'll put Tessa Blanchard there instead of the main roster. The main roster is too stacked with females like a Sasha Banks, a Becky, a Bayley.
That they're not even, and never mind the higher ups. Never mind the higher names there. Exactly. Like the lower names stacked with good talent, but they're not doing anything with them.
They're not doing anything with them. Just put her in NXT. Like, I would say that's the best fit for her. And NXT doesn't have now like a marquee name to look at. Like, don't get me wrong, Adam Cole is still there, but like Adam Cole is taking a back seat. So I'll put Tessa Blanchard in there. Oh, excuse me. I'll put her in there so they could uplift, especially since the fact that they're getting fans again. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens on how that will work out. I'll put her in NXT.
Right.
But fuck Vince. But fuck Vince. I don't give a damn about what Vince has to think or say with his old man syndrome looking ass. Like, I could care less about what Vince thinks.
Yeah, going back to Vince's comments, speaking of, what I got out of his comments, he probably hasn't really seen her body of work as of yet and what she's capable of as an overall talent. So to really formulate a proper and, unbiased opinion there. But Triple H, this was also revealed, he does have open connection with Blanchard. And this has been the case for quite a bit of time now. So what I got out of this is one higher up knows of her talent and has been in touch with her to get something going, and the other doesn't. And this person so happens to be the great Vince McMahon. Yeah. Regardless of that, as of right now, they haven't made a major move towards signing her, probably because of the baggage that she comes with, like you mentioned earlier. And we have talked about it on the show a handful of times, of her recent trouble with the other wrestlers, accusing her of inappropriate behavior and conduct in the locker rooms and verbally harassing them. And dude, like you said, it's hard to ignore her talents and what she can bring to the table for any promotion out there, including WWE and AEW, but you also can't ignore stuff like that as well. If these accusations are strong enough and still ongoing.
I understand that. And don't get me wrong, you're 100% right on that. But they also signed a guy, WWE signed a person who also back then, and to some degree at times where we hear backstage that they signed, and his name is Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar at times have had almost similar cases to some degree that we hear either after WrestleMania or
right when he threw the Universal title right at Vince McMahon. Oh man,
look, Brock Lesnar, what he did to Vince. Like Brock, if they would have never signed Brock Lesnar, if they signed Brock Lesnar, they would sign Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah, but the difference between Lesnar and Tessa like I said, is
I'm only saying Brock Lesnar because to a lesser degree. Like that's the reason why I'm saying that. Because from a talent perspective, Tessa Blanchard is up there, right? But like Tessa Blanchard has a bad history. But the thing is, Vince McMahon would honestly take a chance on that. And possibly Triple H might take a chance on that because you can't ignore a talent like that. It's like saying like,
that's one side of the spectrum, though.
No,
it's like,
again,
what can you? Are you going to bring a good reputation with you or a bad one? That's another big factor into their decision making.
No, I get it. But I understand that completely. She has a bad reputation in terms of the locker room, right? And WWE, I give WWE credit for taking whoever has a bad reputation with the locker room or whatever they have. they have beef with business or whatever, they kick him out. But a talent like Tessa Blanchard, can you really ignore a talent like that coming to the brand? Can you really do that?
Maybe all I know is, dude, that it's a tricky situation, and they're gonna have to plan out the timing of it all, and they have to do their proper research into the background of Tessa Blanchard and all these complaints about her.
If I was Vince, I'll leave the decision up to Triple H. I would honestly leave the decision up to Triple H. He knows what.
I don't know if that's such an easy thing to do, because even if Tessa were to get signed to NXT exclusively at first, because Vince is he's now had his hands full with NXT. He's had a big influence on that as well these past few months. Why do you notice the diminished quality of the shows?
No. I get that. I get that. But that's what I'm saying, like, because the fact that Vince hasn't truly watched her, like, I'm saying, like, that's why I would leave the decision to Triple H, because Triple H follows her. Triple H is aware of what she could bring, what Tessa Blanchard could bring to the table. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I will leave the decision up to him. I'm like, yo, if I'm Vince, I'm like, you know what? I don't really know how she's viewed on the locker room in terms of the company, but I'm gonna let you decide. Whatever you pick, I'm with you. Like, in terms of Triple H, and that's what I'm saying. I would say, if I'm Vince, Triple H has the final say.
I'm sure Triple H does have, well, a lot more sanity out of this whole situation and how he would approach it than Vince would, because Vince would sign anyone who he knows would bring the big bucks in the long term or even the short term. So I'm hoping that Triple H, if it were up to him exclusively, which I highly doubt, but if that were the case, then he would know what he's doing, and he would think twice.
Right.
And yeah, we'll end it there for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed episode 39 of Wrestling Hypothesis. Thank you guys for listening. As always, be sure to follow us on Facebook or Instagram for any updates on the show, as well as on the news reports on wrestling that you can find out through us. And we will be back for a new episode of Extra sometime throughout the week. Hopefully Ricardo can join us again.
I'm pretty confident I can make it.
All right, awesome. So expect that. So guys listening, expect that sometime on Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. So yeah, until then, have a good one, guys. Take care.
Peace.
Have a safe week, everyone.